Welcome back to the Dad Life Fishing Adventure YouTube channel. Today we're going to be talking about jumping into kayak bass fishing for the first time, what you can do to be as best prepared to start yourself as a kayak bass fishing tournament fisherman. So we love it. We've been doing it for 2 years. We started, the first year was a struggle. The first tournament we fell out of our kayak twice. We lost some equipment, but we caught some fish and we learned a bunch. And that first season, what it was we learned a bunch. And that was the consistent package around our first season of kayak bass fishing tournaments. And then the second season, we started to have success. We had 3 second place finishes. We finished in the money twice. We caught the big bass for one of our tournaments. There was a lot of things that started to click for us, and we started to learn how me as an angler, fit into kayak bass fishing tournaments. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is where to start. This can be daunting for many people, and a lot of people won't start fishing kayak bass fishing tournaments because they either feel that they don't have the equipment necessary. So the first thing I'm going to say is you don't need fancy electronics. You don't need a fancy kayak. You don't need a kayak motor. You don't need pedal drive. All those things are great, and you may graduate into those while kayak bass fishing tournaments, but you don't need those to start. And the best way to start, or best mindset to start, is just go for it. No matter what type of kayak you have, no matter what type of equipment you have, start. Because you will soon learn that there is something for everyone. The very best place to start is in your local chapters. So here in Indiana, we have the Roots Bass Yakin Tournament Series, and they have rivers and lakes and ponds all across the state where they hold tournaments. And there's something near everybody in Indiana, or even people from out of the state that are near the borders can jump into and have a fun time fishing. You don't need all the fancy equipment to start. You can be competitive. You don't even have to be a super multi-year angler for bass. You can start all together in the kayak bass fishing tournaments atmosphere. And one of the things that you'll love is meeting the other anglers, because anglers in kayak bass fishing are really great people. They love to talk. They'll help you out. They'll share with you. They'll support you. And they have great presences on websites, on social media, on Facebook groups. Great opportunities. So find a tournament series near you and jump into it. If you are a river fisherman, you like fishing rivers and creeks, jump into a river series. So the first thing I will stress is that it is best to learn the rules right up front. So when you say, hey, I'm going to jump into this in the year, make sure the first things you do is go to that kayak bass fishing tournament series website, their Facebook group, whatever, join everything, read the rule book, get used to the app that they use, whether it's TourneyX or Fishing Chaos or some other product out there. Get used to using the app, do their test modules, whatever it takes. Get used to taking pictures of fish, learn the rules, understand what it takes to become a successful angler in that tournament series, and know that each tournament series group may be a little bit different. So be ready for differences when you jump from one kayak bass fishing tournament series to another. So a couple things that you'll need to have in the preparedness cycle is, a good working phone. You're going to need to be able to download and use an app because you're a catch, photo, and release tournament series. So this is not like the bass fishing tournaments on the TV where you're bringing a bag of fish in and getting them weighed. You're going to be measuring fish, taking a photo, and then releasing those fish back into the wild. Now that can bring a whole list of things that you're not used to doing. So the very first thing that you need to do is learn what is the acceptable type of measuring board that you can use. So in our tournament series, it's Catch USA products. that are the acceptable measuring board. And that seems to be pretty consistent across the board. There are some tournament series that may add some others in there, but it's done for consistency and ease of review. So learn what that is, get that product. Also get something that you can easily write your identifier number. So you're going to get an identifier number probably the night before your tournament or the day of your tournament that you're going to have to write on something, and it's going to have to show up in all your pictures. So you don't need to be ready to do that to make your day successful. Another thing I can't stress more, and I really started to do it in year 2, is this concept of being prepared ahead of time. So I make sure that I have everything packed in my van. I've got the kayak all stowed. I've got all the fishing rods all geared up. I've got my measuring board ready with a Sharpie marker ready to write down the identifier as soon as I get it. I've got this whole preparedness bubble. So when I'm ready to leave early in the morning, because most kayak bass fishing tournament series start right at daybreak, so you're going to be traveling in the dark. You're going to get to your ramp. It's going to turn light. It's going to be time to fish, and you're going to need to be out on the water. You don't want to be wasting time. You want to be ready to go. So being prepared the night before, being ready to roll, is paramount to having a good day out on the water. And here's the fishing joke of the day. What do you get when you cross a fishing rod with a gym sock? You get hook, line, and stinker. Ha ha ha, back to the information. So one thing I learned to do in my second year, and I learned this a lot by listening to some kayak bass fishermen on podcasts like Smalley Talk or the Catch podcast, where the concept and the value of pre-fishing. So this is a little bit of an interesting spin because you might be a little limited on how you can pre-fish, not sometimes by the rules, but others just by travel distance. So what we have done is we make sure that we are fishing the week before somewhere either on the same body of water, not necessarily the set stretch that we're hoping to fish on the tournament day, but somewhere near that, or a substantially similar body of water that may be closer by, that works the same way or fishes the same way in general. And you'll learn that over the years that maybe these two rivers have very similar fishing styles. So if you're dialed in on one, you probably are going to be dialed in on the other. But pre-fishing, knowing what's happening as you're moving into different times of the year when bass fishing is important, because that will help you get to the next level. So if you know that fish are relating to a certain types of structure right now, or they're going to the spawn, they're leaving the spawn, they're moving into their summer holes, whatever it is, be ready, be prepared, and knowing that you're not going to be able to pre-fish the weather conditions of the day that you're kayak bass fishing, but you will have better preparedness. And pre-fishing is very important because you'll get some key baits, some confidence baits. That's pretty cool. So something that has helped me, and I will say this specifically from the concept of kayak bass fishing tournaments, is that even as a paddle-only kayak fisherman like myself, covering water in a kayak bass fishing tournament is an important thing to do. So don't get stuck and fish the same area all day. When I'm doing river fishing, I'm fishing as much water as possible. Now, I will slow down. I will slow down and I will pick a spot apart if I'm getting action. Otherwise, I'm moving and I'm moving till I get to the next place. I'm not wasting time because you have hours of time, but it seems to go really fast when you're out there fishing, and you want to be able to catch as many fish as possible and fish as many good spots as possible when the fish are biting. So go through that and cover water. Cover water is important. One of the things I will say, and several other river fishermen have said, if you're river fishing tournaments, is that going upstream is better than going downstream a lot of times when fishing, just because you don't spook as many fish and you seem to be a little bit more productive. And don't be afraid to get out of your kayak if you're allowed by the rules. Get out of your kayak and fish. Another important thing when kayak bass fishing in general, but definitely tournament fishing, tournament day fishing, when it's all on the line, you got to catch fish, is being prepared for some confidence baits. Get out there and throw a bait that you're confident in, or put a couple baits on right away that you know how to fish, and either you catch them right away or you know they're not biting it. Just start that process. So to me, I've learned to be very confident in jerkbait fishing, in tube fishing, fishing small jigs, fishing soft plastic flukes, just a numerous items that I can be very confident in, or the Sixth Sense trace, some baits that I just like using. And every fisherman has those. Be prepared to throw your confidence bait until you know it doesn't work. That helps so much, because if you get on it, then you get a chance to win it or to place really well. And you'll know that right away, like, oh yeah, we're doing it right now. It's time to catch fish. And that'll set you on a really good ramp. The other thing when throwing baits in general during a kayak bass fishing tournament is don't get stuck on one bait, but know that there might be a trend throughout the day where maybe something works really good in that really early morning stretch that doesn't work in the afternoon, but may work again later in the evening. So don't throw something out, but understand in a lot of tournaments that we've fished, there's something that works in the morning that also works later in the day, but may not work in that middle series. And that's what is most important. If you want to have a successful day on the water tournament fishing, it's about trying to find something that catches fish when your bread and butter isn't working. So that middle window series is something that, like, if you have a soft plastic or a finesse jig or something that catches fish during the dead part of the day, that is where you're going to make a big difference. Another big thing when we're kayak bass fishing is that we set goals. And behind you, you can see our goals for this upcoming season. We want to catch 75 inches as many times as possible. And we want to fish a new body of water or new tournament series this year. We set goals and set realistic goals that you can meet and understand, so that you can have some internal success. Even if you're not successful on the leaderboard, you're not getting up to that second or first place to get paid, but you can sit back and be like, hey, I had a good day because I met this goal. So the first year that we fished kayak bass fishing tournaments, our goal was to catch a limit. Just catch a limit. And, that actually was a struggle a couple times, but we were successful. Every time we went out there, we did catch a limit. The second year, we wanted to break that 70-inch range, because we knew that if you're 70 inches or higher, you're going to finish in that top quarter of the leaderboard, more likely or not. You're going to be a competitive angler. The final thing I want to leave you with is enjoy yourself when out in the water. There are things going to happen to you while fishing that are going to try to steal that joy. Whether it's getting to the ramp in a river tournament and there's already anglers there, or you're fishing and you come upon somebody else that's fishing, so you're like double fishing a spot, or there's a bass boat that keeps fishing in front of you the whole day. Whatever it is, don't let those things bother you. Have fun as an angler. Be flexible. This is kayak bass fishing. You're going to have things happen. It's kind of a rough sport in general. So like you're going to snag poles, and you're going to get line tangles, and you're going to have things happen on the kayak that are going to frustrate you or whatever. You might lose some fish because there's some awkward times in a kayak, or you might have to get out of your kayak because the river is low a lot, and there's just things that are going to happen, and you got to allow yourself to have fun. You can't allow yourself to get frustrated, because if you're out there and allowing yourself to get all negative, you're not going to have a good time. But if you come up with a really positive mindset and let things brush off of you, say, for example, We had a situation just this last season um, where I don't know, there was a stretch for about an hour in one of our tournaments that I literally seemed to have line issues and snag everything possible for an hour. But getting through that hour, that was a tournament that I finished in second place and caught the big bass for the tournament. So I didn't allow that frustration that happened all in the middle of the day get in my way. And that was a big change. That was the moment when things started to click. And that's what I wanted to say is just have fun. If you're not going to have fun out there, don't do it. So I hope this information helps you. I hope that you go out there and you take the time to learn the rules, learn the app, get the right measuring board, get your everything ready for the day ahead of time, get some confidence baits, get a positive attitude. Don't be worried about being a good enough angler or having the right equipment. Just go out and start kayak bass fishing tournaments. You're going to have fun. The camaraderie around kayak bass fishing is amazing. You will meet so many wonderful people. You'll have such a good time. Don't let some of the silly things that happen while fishing, like line tangles and snagging things on the kayak, and maybe falling out of the kayak, or whatever, losing a fish. Don't let those things get you down. Have a fun time out there. Have a positive attitude. It's going to lead to a lot of fun. It's never too late to get into kayak bass fishing. We got into kayak bass fishing at the age of 39. So if you're younger, older, whatever, get into it. Don't wait. Have some fun out there. I hope this video was helpful. If so, pound that like button. Drop us a comment if you have any questions about kayak bass fishing tournaments. We would love to help you. There's lots of things out there, and there's ways to move up. I didn't talk about this, but there's ways to move up from your local chapter to like the Kayak Adventure Series or the Bass Tournament Series for kayak anglers. There's so many things out there, so many opportunities for you. You're going to have fun. So pound that like button, drop us a comment. We'd love to hear from you. Subscribe to the Dad Life Fishing Adventure channel. We would love to have you part of our family. And until next time, we will see you out on the water. God bless.